The last time that we made a presentation actually was at the Metals Investment Forum in Toronto during PDAC, and everything really changed since then. It's been a brave new world. Lots going on with the pandemic and civil unrest and all types of things. Vizsla actually took that opportunity, that break, to do a couple of things. One is to improve the corporate situation, raise money, extend our options. But we also took that break from the project to understand more what was going on there, take some time and retarget some of our exploration. So in a sense, we've actually improved our company over that time, and I think you'll see in this presentation that we're very excited about what's going forward. Of course, we're making forward-looking statements, so please feel free to read this version that's sent out to everybody. Now, I know we touched on it in Eric's talk there, and but we are a silver company, and we're very, very bullish on metal. The reason for that is, like every day, there's a new headline that back in 2008 would have skyrocketed metals, but looking back, historic metals markets, historic gold markets, silver's always lagged. The month of June has always been the weakest for silver, but it seems to me that we're really starting to ramp up and starting to see some movement in silver, and we're very excited about that. Now, today, actually, we announced the closing of a $4.6 million bought deal that was led by Konnert. We did the entire over-allotment amount. So now we're very well cashed up. We have about 69 million shares in the bank, in the register, $6 million in the bank, and a market cap of just around $30 million right now. So myself, my board, our advisors, kind of our insider group here, we own just about 20% of the company. Other institutional investors, funds, hedge funds, high net worth individuals own another 40%. And I think you can see on the chart here that we're looking forward to regaining some of the ground that we lost from the COVID shutdown. So today I'll talk about the top three reasons to own Vizsla. And the first is the size of the prize. So what we're working on at the Panuco district is truly a district scale opportunity, high grades of silver and gold. But adding to that as well is excellent infrastructure and a pathway to production that creates this unique opportunity for us. The second reason is that we're in the best position yet. We extended the options, the underlying options, out to well into 2022. We've just completed this bought deal financing, so we're fully cashed up. We have enough time to execute our strategy. And then the third reason is that we have results pending. We announced in May the resumption of drilling on the Napoleon vein, which is a high-grade silver vein target that's never been drilled. And we also just yesterday announced the return of a second rig to the project on the Cordon de Oro vein corridor, another high-grade target that's never been drilled. So we're aggressively drilling this completely underexplored district, and we're doing it with 2 rigs right now. So the first point there is the size of the prize. Vizsla has gone in and consolidated for the first time in modern history the Panuco district. It's been a long-lived mining district. For over 450 years it's been in production, but it suffered from fragmented ownership, a lack of investment, and a critical lack of exploration. But the interesting thing about Panuco is that it compares in size and scale and grade to some of the top silver fields in Mexico. It truly is has the potential to be a tier 1 asset in Mexico. And there's evidence of high-grade silver and gold being mined across the district. Whether it's from one of the hundreds of small, very small man mines from hundreds of years ago, to significant underground developments on the Animas Trend, which is the most productive area of the district. There's evidence of everything from small-scale to large-scale mining across the district, giving us the confidence that finding new deposits on here will be well worth the exercise. As I say, it's massively underexplored. There's over 20 vein corridors on the project, main vein corridors that are are from 1 kilometer to 6 to 7 kilometers long. Only 2 of those have been drilled, and that's the Animus and the Colorado. We're drilling now two separate vein corridors that have never been explored in any meaningful way. So if we're successful, the prize here is enormous. It's an entire silver gold district. It has infrastructure, it has production, it has mill that we have under option, permits, AHITO agreements, everything that a company would need to rapidly move into a production scenario, we have at the end of the option. Now our task, of course, is to find the amount of metal, silver and gold, in our own exploration to justify this acquisition. The way to look at the potential here is similarities to the San Dimas mine. San Dimas mine is owned by First Majestic. It's about 80 kilometers to the north of Panuco on the Durango side of the border. It has near identical geology, near identical style of mineralization, long-lived multiple episodes of vein formation. And Panuco and San Dimas, they both share a long history of mining over centuries. But the big difference here, aside from the production and the development, is the time at which San Dimas was consolidated and explored was much earlier than Panuco, as Vizsla has just recently consolidated Panuco. So we have a potential to explore Panuco and build it into something large and exciting like a San Dimas. But we just need to do the actual exploration on the project that hasn't been done due to the fragmented ownership. And in 2018, First Majestic acquired Primero Mining for the San Dimas mine. And that was with a crippling streaming agreement. It was basically run into the ground at that point. And it still commanded a valuation of over $300 million US. Today we see that the San Dimas mine is worth probably more than half of First Majestic's market cap. Now, Panuco does compare not only to San Dimas, but to a number of other prolific areas in Mexico. Zacatecas mine, Zacatecas district, the Fresnillo district, Guanajuato district, and the Las Chispas project owned by Silvercrest. You can see Panuco in the top left-hand corner, Vizsla with a market cap of $27 million. These are on 5-kilometer scale bars here, all superimposed on the same scale reference. And you can see that the vein formations that we have and the district size truly does compare to many of these, to all of these projects. So what we are working with here is a very large district with many targets, currently drilling on 2 of those. Now the second point is that we put Vizsla, over this quarantine and pandemic period, we put Vizsla into the best position since we started in Mexico in fall of 2019. And I think a great example of that is the headlines that I can highlight here from the last 2 months. So on May 12th, we outlined new targets, Napoleon and Cordon d'Oro. The day after, we announced the extension of the options into 2022. A week later, we returned to the site and began exploration. A week after that, we announced a bought deal with Konnert. 2 weeks from then, going into June, we recommenced drilling at the Panuco project at the Napoleon target. And following that, yesterday we announced the second rig coming to Cordon d'Oro. And today we announced the closing of the oversubscribed bought deal. So we put ourselves in an excellent position. We have 2 rigs turning, and we have more time than we did to start with the options for exploration. Now, if we're successful, we can essentially execute this option here for a $23 million pathway to production. Rio Panuco option, that represents half of the district. We still have a long-dated 7-year option to acquire the balance of the district. We have our foot on it now. But in this market, if we were to execute this option and get the mill and the permits and the tailings and everything we would need to do, we could do that for $23 million. So you can see that we have, up until 2022, a very inexpensive initial option, just over $1.5 million, to secure an entire district that's known for high-grade silver and gold, and has all the production infrastructure one would need. Now, the third point is, as I've mentioned, is that we're drilling for discoveries right now. Panuco has seen very little exploration until Vizsla entered the scene. There actually was no detailed geology map. Drilling was on only 10% of the known vein extent on two of the corridors, Animas and Colorado. But now we have two drill rigs turning on brand new vein corridors. Those are the Napoleon district, the Napoleon vein system, and the Cordon del Oro vein corridor. So the Napoleon vein system has seen surface sampling, very high grades of silver and gold, 4.2 meters at 480 grams silver equivalent, 1.2 meters at 1.4 kilos silver equivalent, and the Cordon d'Oro is even higher grade, 3.2 meters at 1.3 kilos silver, and in that is high grade gold. And then inside of that even is 1 meter at 3.1 kilos silver. And that's where we actually saw elevated gold levels at 38 grams per ton of gold. So very high grades of metals on these vein targets. These represent 2 of the 20 targets that we're drilling across the district, but these are the ones that we got to first after the shutdown. Now, this is an aerial shot of the overall district to give an idea of scale. What I'll do is I'll use the arrow here to show the Animas corridor. This is where we actually originally drilling between old workings, underneath old workings, actually finding new discoveries on the northern extent of this. But we were initially expecting to explore the Animas area there to test the theory, whether or not there was, the low-hanging fruit was there for us to find. We were successful, but during the quarantine period, the shutdown period, we sat and did our desktop review and determined that there was even more exciting opportunities outside of that Animas district into the 2 new vein corridors, the Napoleon and the Cordon d'Oro. As you can see here, this is the Animas corridor. The Animas corridor is representative of we believe, about 90% of the district's historic production. And we're not essentially not allowed to talk about that, but it is a significant amount of historic production across the district. But you can see the Cordon d'Oro actually is essentially an offsetted vein corridor to the west of Animas. It's showing a lot of potential here, actually. It's showing the potential to have multiple ore chutes in it. Very superficial mining at the top 50 meters. Underneath that, there's been no drilling. There's been no exploration there. The reason for that is we believe it's higher in the system, but it looks to be potentially an analog to the Animas corridor. And then over here on the Napoleon, this is a brand new area that's being drilled now. We expect assays in the coming weeks here, and we're off to a very encouraging start. So we have 2 potentials for rapidly assembling discovered metal, moving towards that resource that's going to give us the comfortability to execute that option. Now, in addition to the district scale, the drills turning, the recent capital raise, we have a team that can execute on this business strategy here. So my business partner, my chairman, Vizsla, is Craig Perry. You might recognize him as a founder of NextGen Energy. He's the chairman of Sakina Resources, formerly Rio Tinto, one of the founders of EMR Capital. So we have very good ties to capital markets and strategy there. And through Craig, I'll point out Charles Funk as well. Many of you may know, Charles has rapidly established himself as a leader in Mexico. He has moved from success to success there, and is very excited to have him leading our work on the project in Mexico. And the last name that I'll point out is Simon Smirlik. Simon is currently the COO out of Senko Engineering, probably one of the world's best engineering firms for mine building. And his breadth of knowledge and experience is fantastic for us and gives us the confidence when we look at the infrastructure and the workings on the project. So in summary, I touched on the size of the prize. What we have to win here is a potential tier 1 asset in Mexico for silver and gold, one that compares favorably to other districts that are well known. We have results pending. We have 2 drills turning on the project, 2 unexplored vein corridors. We've extended the options well into 2022, and then as we announced this morning, we're well cashed up. And finally, the team that we have is the right team to bring it all together. Project. So again, I want to say thank you to Eric and the Metals Investment Forum team here, and I'll be happy to answer questions after this.